One genre that I want to get into more is French New Wave. I already did with Breathless and also Alphaville, but I also just thought, what's an American equivalent? That would be, I guess, the emergence of four directors when they made a truly, you have to see it movie, Four Rooms, from 1995. Don't miss the fun in this hilariously sexy comedy that has Antonio Banderas, Madonna, Evita, and a sizzling all-star cast checking in for laughs. It's Ted the Bellhop's Tim Roth in Pulp Fiction. First night on the job, and the hotel's very unusual guests are about to place him in some outrageous predicaments. It seems that the evening's room service is serving up one unbelievable happening after another. Also featuring Academy Award winner Marisa Tomei, Best Supporting Actress, My Cousin Vinny. Four Rooms is a wild night of highly original comedy entertainment you'll enjoy, without reservations. Well, I'm trying to get through all the Tarantino movies, wherever he appeared in, directed, screenplayed, whatever, and I'm just like, okay, so what's this? Well, it's a different blending of four directors who had their own styles at the time. First one's called, what was that? Like, where Witch's Coven is trying to bring together ingredients to resurrect their goddess Diane. That's actually a real goddess. And I'm like, okay, so they need the semen from a male. Interesting. And yes, Madonna is in there. I'm like, okay then. Second one's, it was called The Wrong Man, which our man finds himself in a bizarro, psychosexual game or whatever, which David, whatever his name is also, he's starting a lot of stuff. Is like, he has a firearm, and he's thinking he's going to try and convince his wife or whatever, saying that he did not have relationships with another man. And all the meanwhile, there's a lot of stuff going on because the bellhop was supposed to go to a party to deliver ice to a bunch of, I guess, partiers or whatever. They had the champagne and everything, but gets the wrong room, and I'm like, should have been 504. Third one is The Misbehaviors, which Antonio Banderas is freaking great, portraying a modern day, what's the father, either the Munsters or the Addams Family. His wife is Morticia. Portrays that, being suave, got the mustache and everything. So they definitely have him come in. Then his kids start misbehaving, including watching an adult movie channel, smoking, and everything else. And all the meanwhile, these kids actually do a dang good job. And I'm just like, they're misbehaving that ultimately results in fire. Fourth one, it stars Tarantino himself as he plays quite the interesting movie director. And all the meanwhile, they have a bet of because there's this episode of the Alfred Hitchcock TV show, which Peter Lorre and someone else have a bet saying, hey, if you get later 10 times in a row, you get a car. If not, your pig will be sliced. They try and replicate that. All the meanwhile, the poor guy is just going through so many bizarre situations. So as I'm just looking at this, it's got the motifs of one, non-linear story progression. Two, it's got absurd scenarios. These are some of the most ridiculous scenarios that one could ever conceive. Truly, I mean, a witch's coven? Well, at least Ted the bellhop loses her virginity to an attractive woman, Second one's just, what the heck? I don't know, I mean, this book, it's just so bizarre. It's just, it's a coming together of the class of 92, I don't want to say Oscars, but some other type of group or something like that, where they say, hey, well, let's make a statement. And, Robert Rodriguez, pre-Spy Kids and whatever else he did, Tarantino, and then Alejandro, with Allison Anders, Alejandro Rockwell. I don't know who the first two are. But, as I'm just looking at, as I'm just watching this, I'm just thinking, well, I would have to agree that, I thought it would be kind of pointless at first, but now that I'm getting an understanding of what's going on, it's kind of taking in like the French New Wave, not necessarily breaking the fourth wall, but going with unconventional measures and, sets and everything else. I'm thinking, all right, I'm liking this, and it's pretty good. The theme song by the Combustible Edisons is really good, but yeah, the first one's fine. I guess it felt incomplete, which I'll get to in a minute. Second one's just tense and just kind of dumb, I guess. I don't know. Third one was great because of just the mayhem and unpredictability that ensues. And the fourth one is probably the best, which features the long takes because that's what Tarantino does. It was going to be like, equal about 2.5 hours long, but they realized that the power that Tarantino had, with Pulp, just fresh off of Reservoir Dogs and Pulp F and Fiction, they gave him some time, and unfortunately had to cut down on the first two. That's why it feels incomplete, and it really could have been more. That's what would have liked to have seen. So maybe there's like a restored cut, or if this were to be remade, kind of have like the same scenarios and everything, but give it the proper spacing to let everything breathe. That's what I would like to have seen. Some people may not enjoy the non-linear storytelling, which, it's like when they call back to what our poor man was going through in in the previous movie. So you feel sorry for him, and it's just like, well, guy made $1,000 overnight and lost his virginity, so that's a hell of a way to start your first day, I guess you could say. I mean, it's like, how do I feel about, it's like some people say, oh, Tarantino's like, he's either great in a role or he's not. Here, he's great because of the long takes. I would rather have a man who's truly erudite and has encyclopedic knowledge of thrillers to the most obscure 1970s kung fu movies. So he's kind of like my role model, I guess, just to augment my movie knowledge. So yeah, say what you will about that. I don't give a rat's behind what you say. But yeah, definitely, but with all the weirdness and everything else, it's just, I mean, sadly there's no Blu-ray release, so you gotta go with the DVD. But yeah, definitely highly recommend that you watch Four Rooms.